Welcome back to Light Upon Light. We have just completed Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, and now we are going to start with Surah Al-An'am, chapter 6, the cattle. This surah actually deals with the Arab pagan superstitions regarding cattle, and especially cattle for food. In verse 38, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirms that every animal on planet Earth and every bird or being which flies are but communities like ourselves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there is not an animal that lives on the earth, nor a being that flies on its wings, but forms part of communities like you. Nothing have we omitted from the book, and they all shall be gathered to their Lord in the end. ثُمَّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يُحْشَرُونَ. So you can imagine that when you see the bees or the ants or the cattle or the bats or the birds, they are communities like our own selves. In the next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the extent of His knowledge. This is verse 59. With Him are the keys of the unseen, the treasures that none knows but He. Mafatihul Ghaib. He knows whatever there is on the earth and in the sea. And every time a leaf falls from the tree, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it. There is not a grain in the darkness or depth of the earth, nor anything fresh or dry, green or withered, but is inscribed in a record clear to those who can read. في كتاب مبين. So you can imagine the extent of the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are walking through the forest in the autumn and you see all the leaves falling, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about each and every leaf falling from the tree, because it affects the amount of oxygen in the air, it affects the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, it affects the moisture in the tree. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows these things because they have a role to play in the whole universe. In the next verse or set of verses, we are going to discuss part of the life of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. I'm starting from verse 74, Surah Al-An'am. This is Surah number 6. Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him from early age to recognize his creator. His father Azar, his name was Azar, he used even to make idols and sell it. And Ibrahim was very concerned about this. And one day he said to his father, I'm very surprised, father, that you are taking these idols for gods. Surely you and your people are in manifest error. So Ibrahim alayhi salam had to perform a play to convince his people about the one true God. His people were pioneers in astronomy. They believed in the stars, in the planets, in the galaxies, in the sun, in the moon, and they were very highly scientific people. So Ibrahim decided to have a play to convince his people that what they are doing is wrong. So what he did actually, he went out and he looked at the sky and he ensured that his people are watching and listening to him. So he saw a planet, a kawkab. So he looked at it and he said, this is my Lord. So when this planet disappeared, he said, oh, I don't love those that set. Then he looked at the moon. It was a full moon. And he pointed at it and he said, surely this is my Lord. When the moon disappeared, Abraham said, if my Lord does not guide me, I shall surely be among those who go astray. Then he saw the sun rising. He said, this is the greatest of all. But when the sun set, he said, O my people, I am indeed free from your guilt of giving partners to Allah. For me, I have set my face firmly and truly towards Him who created the heavens and the earth, and never shall I give partners to Allah. This is a dua which we always say when we start our prayer. وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِيَ لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. In the next section, we talk about the harvest festival. When my daughter was very young, she had a harvest festival at school and she brought some food, and the idea was to give thanks to God for the harvest and to give this food to the poor and the needy. When she came home, she said, haven't we got a harvest festival in Islam? I said, surely we have. So verse 141 confirms this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it is He who produces gardens with trellises and without. Jannatin ma'rushatin wa ghayra ma'rushat. You can see in a farm or a garden, the branches of the trees are going into each other like that, or they are going straight. This refers to ma'rushat, trellises, and without. In addition to this, dates and vegetation of all kinds, and olives and pomegranates, similar in kind and different in variety. You may see so many varieties of dates, so many varieties of olives. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, eat of their fruit in their season, when they are ready to be picked up and eaten. But render the dues that are proper on the day that the harvest is gathered. وَآتُوا حَقَّهُ يَوْمَ حَصَادِهِ. So pay the zakah of your crop on the day it is harvest, it is gathered. And do not waste, for Allah does not love the wasters. And the waste here refers not to the zakah, but refers to the human consumption. When you destroy a crop to increase the value of the product in the market, or to deprive people from certain products. The zakah, which is known as zakatul thimar, you either pay 5% of your crop or 10%. 5% if it is mechanically irrigated, or 10% of the crop if it is naturally irrigated. So if you have rain, then you pay 10%, and if you have mechanical means, then you have to pay 5% of this. In the next session, we are going to talk about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited. And it is we talk about the true moral law, which stems from the divine law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you inshallah in the next episode of Light Upon Light. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.